And we're live. Okay, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Rage Theo, One True Nerd King, Comics and Chaos.
Welcome,
Sunday.
everybody. Tonight's going to be C2E2 versus Megacon. So, why wait? Let's go. Hey, what's good, everybody? Happy Sunday. Everybody like that intro. Thank Posh for that. Much applause to Posh. Great job. Even got our friends in each week, so thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We have two great guests this evening. We are super excited to bring out and have this conversation about C2E2 versus Megacon. And so up first, we're going to bring out our good friend, Nerdy Girl Comics, Danielle. Welcome to the club. How's it going, sister?
Hi. How you doing?
How's it going?
Hi, boys.
Hey. And last but certainly not least, in his debut on Comics and Chaos, Mr. Goldenage Guru. What is good, brother?
What's up, guys?
How you doing,
How are you,
man?
sir?
Oh,
Welcome in, man.
So pumped to be here right now.
We're pumped too, dude.
Hey,
Hell yeah. So where's everybody at right now? Because you don't look like you're at home, Jeff. You don't look like you're there.
You don't think that these pleated
Yeah, I
drapes
thought
are
you
at
had
my
no
home?
spare ends.
I mean, it does look like your comic book room, but not
These
really.
synthetic pillows are not from a hotel. No, yes they are.
No.
I'm at a convention, Cal Comic Con, which was awesome.
No
It's a
jelly,
great.
total FOMO.
Yeah, I wish you guys were here, man. It's a great
tell me
one-day
what I'm
show.
missing out on.
Yeah, a great show, one-day show every year. Very focused on comics only.
Yeah.
Some artists here, no real cosplay stuff, but it was a good show. It was good energy. I'm feeling good about the industry after today. Good sales for everybody. You had to make some adjustments here and there, but people are excited about comics still, so it was fun to see.
Danielle, how about you this weekend? Just been kicking butt at home? What you
I'm
been
in my
up to?
office.
Mm.
So fancy, huh?
We're at home tonight, folks.
Yeah.
I can
By
feel
the
it.
way, I just have to say, shout out to the 15 people in here. You guys were early. We were late. I apologize. There are some fantastic people in the chat right now. Really quick, Mikey, Audrey, Dave Walker. We have Vin. We have Funhouse. We have Gabriel. So many people. Dan Jung, my man. Janie, how are you? Okay.
Yep,
I
guys.
think I'm caught up. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I love you, but I just had to shout out everybody in here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Super appreciated. So for all those that do not know, make sure you can find all of our friends here. They've all got Instagram right now. We don't have all the different lines up, you'll be able to see their tags. So if you're not following them already, you can. If you're catching this on the rewind, make sure you check it out. But tonight's story is really breaking down to conventions, right? We're going to be talking about do's and don'ts, things to kind of do to get ready. But honestly, the biggest story in the conventions this year, in my opinion, so far, because we're just beginning out, is going to be the time slotting of two of the biggest ones, especially at the start, but two of the biggest ones, period. We've got Megacon versus C2E2, Chicago versus Orlando. And I know there's some opinions on that. So before we start getting into research and things of that, Theo, any opinions that you have or that you've been gleaming from the chat before we get really started into things?
So the first thing that comes to my mind, and Danielle, Jeff, this is why we have you guys on. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember the last time two, I want to say major cons have scheduled at the same time. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, I especially shows this big. Like a lot of dealers count on doing both of these shows. So I can't remember a time that like shows compete with each other all the time, but these are two of the biggest shows of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I don't quite understand how that could have occurred.
Well, it was MegaCon though, right? Because Chicago was always in March pre-COVID. MegaCon, as far as I remember, was always around Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because usually if there's an issue, it's because that venue was unable to secure the location any other week that made sense for them. So maybe it's just one of those random things. I'm hoping it's not a consistent annual thing. I don't want to have
be pretty awful.
Yeah, it'd be unnecessary because you're just hurting each other. So it's no sense.
Exactly.
Well, they're hurting the people that have supported their shows for decades in some cases.
Yeah, so for me, it's like New York, San Diego, Chicago. Those are kind of like the three kind of big cons. But then, like, you know, it's maybe what is it? Megacon, I think WonderCon, and maybe DragonCon. I think you could throw in there.
I would put Emerald City up there.
Emerald City, right?
Well, Heroes is a great show, and Baltimore is a great show for comics. I'm not talking about. I don't know about attendance wise though. That'd be interesting.
I don't know how I feel about Baltimore, but Heroes,
any convention
we'll say that for another
Halloween weekend though. Any convention on holiday weekends could be pretty boss.
Like the one day show you were at, there's another one in New Hampshire in April. That's a really great one day show.
I heard this
the Little Giant show. That's all just pretty much all vintage, all comics, no cosplay, no bullshit.
I've heard good things about that. There's also heard a one-day show potentially in Vegas, I think. Nerdy related, I believe.
Wait, what? Like is there something nerdy related that's going to happen in Vegas this year?
You know, there is a Las Vegas Comic Con, right?
Huh. Something nerdy might be happening in Vegas this year. Get ready.
I'd like to know the time.
Get ready for that one.
So we actually have a little bit of research on this to pull a few things up. So we're just going to go ahead and go to that screen as far as things go. But let me go ahead and pull this up. So we've got C2E2. And we can talk about the dates that it's been going on, right? So since its inception in 2010, right? We've got April, we've got March, April, March, April. It's been bouncing back and forth. The only time it's been later was because of COVID, right? Yep. That was the only time. And we see cancellations, and then we just, we know when it is coming up. Now, Megacon has been around since the 90s, right? Very much longer running convention.
Oh, shit. I always thought they did their
started. Well, that's just it. It started in this time of year, right? It did. And in 2000 and I believe we get to 2009 and 10 is when it starts getting really bouncy, because in 2009 it was in August. But when we get back up here to 2014, that is the last year that it was ever in March until now. Because then it goes to April, then it's May, October, May, September. It's bouncing between early spring, late spring, it's bouncing between those months a lot. So that's interesting, in my opinion. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that so far?
I think Megacon should have kept their show when it was.
Yeah, it just seems with a venue that has everything from May to September to jump all the way to where they are now doesn't make much sense. It doesn't. I think that they obviously not going to reschedule, but come on, guys.
Yeah,
I think this also hurts. I think it hurts the show because shows I'm seeing already through the last couple of years are not fully booked by exhibitors. So if you're already going to stretch the amount of exhibitors you're going to have at a convention, you're going to see more gaps and holes in a large convention center, which already just doesn't give a good vibe for attendees.
Well, especially if you want quality dealers, right? Like you don't just want to take the mattress store. You want actual comic book dealers at your show, and artists at your show, and retailers at your show.
And you're not going to get that. You're going to have venues filling it with like Roomba salesmen or military or PETA or what you put in, whatever it is, Girl Scout cookies. Something is going to have to fill those spaces, and they're going to have stuff that's not going to be comic related. You're not going to need to see DeWalt at a goddamn Megacon, you know, or C2E2.
I might need a drill. Isn't that who DeWalt is?
Yes.
Boom. Shout out
Well,
Mikey Comics. He says, wasn't MegaCon really bad last year? I heard they shut off the Wi-Fi.
Shit show.
And Danielle, I think you were there from firsthand experience. What did you experience?
It was Saturday that was really bad. It was a mess. They sold out. Then they reopened it. They sold out again. And then they let people buy tickets at the door. Like you couldn't even move in there. There was no Wi-Fi, no cell service. One of my dealer friends said he had someone get lost at his booth and he had to bring her to security because they had no way of contacting people because there was just no signal anywhere. If there were a fire or something crazy happened, that would have been like pandemonium.
Yeah.
You couldn't even
That's
move.
a really good point, actually. That's because I know we went to Chicago and internet was pretty good. We were posting from the floor.
Yeah.
There were people doing live sales on Instagram with dealers. So I saw it firsthand experience. Yeah.
Honestly, you know, I haven't been to Mega, so I can't say. So I apologize in advance to anybody at Orlando conventions. But McCormick Place is one of the largest convention centers on earth. Okay, it's huge. Now, whether or not C2E2 takes the entire thing, no, it doesn't. Granted, but it has nothing but space available. So when big conventions come in, they have nothing but room to give additional space for people to get through. And I never had a problem navigating, and it wasn't because there was nobody there. There was tons of people at C2E2, but I never had a problem navigating an aisle, getting to a place, being able to see the signage, being able to find my way around C2E2 was fantastic. It was a good experience. If I had to rush to a place because I was doing something with Elite or I was meeting you guys at a booth or doing whatever, it was wonderful. It was really great to navigate. I was very impressed with that.
It's like that every year.
Yeah. It's a very well run show.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I guess Reed Pop knows what they're doing. I don't know. So
you think so?
Like they've done this a time or two.
Once or twice, from like, you know, the little guy to the Empire, you know. So let's take a look over here.
And really quick, Dab, by all means, if you were there, because disclaimer, I was not there. I only went to C2E2, so that's why I had to get somebody that I knew that went there for their opinion. If you have examples, chime in the chat. Don't be shy.
I mean, it was great for like seeing people, but you couldn't see anyone at the show.
Yeah, I did hear a lot about that COVID situation, Funhouse.
I didn't even think about that, but
really?
I heard about that. Yeah.
Listen, people caught shows at every show. People caught COVID at every show last year.
But I do remember at Mega and San Diego, it was like a little bit heightened. Like, you know, a lot of people caught it.
I didn't get COVID at MegaCon, I don't think.
It wasn't COVID, but I think I came back.
Where did I get
it? Like strep throat.
I think I got it at San Diego though. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, you did. I got it twice last year.
You guys remember that? I was out for like 10 days.
That's right.
No call, no show.
It was the quietest night on my phone for like a week and a half.
For real.
Like nobody calls. What you doing?
I don't know what to do.
Like, what do I do? Like, you know, it's Theo when you don't even
me like, are you
don't even pick it up, and he just goes, "What are you doing?"
Right.
What are you doing?
Just like that.
I'm gonna ask for a new opener eventually. You're gonna know something's really bad when he doesn't say, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve, guys. Guilty.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's talk again about MegaCon versus C2E2. All right, so let's take a look there. And before we get started, let me go ahead and flip the script so our guests can be seen. So here what we've got for announcements coming in for creators and guests, right, at MegaCon. We're looking at MegaCon first because right now C2E2 is not announced, and I'll show you that portion of the page. But we've got, you know, the headliners seem to be like, you know, Joe, Mark, Williamson. We've got Frank Cho. You know, obviously you guys can read, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But it's quite a list. It's a great list. It's a great list of great people. I'm not seeing necessarily legends per se, but a lot of great people, right?
They're all super relevant to right now, though.
Yes. This is a great modern set, right? Things of that nature. So when it comes to C2E2, though, no artist alley or exhibitors have been announced yet, and I don't know.
Isn't it next month?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a month and
I
a half
wonder why
away.
they're keeping it under lock. Maybe they don't
basically
want
7
MegaCon
weeks.
to know their plan.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't right now. If
we were
MegaCon
talking
came in and
about that
crashed my
earlier.
party, if MegaCon came in and crashed my party, I wouldn't want to give them anybody to think about trying to steal. I would rather just them not be getting a lot of notices right now.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But as far as things announced, not a lot. Not a lot of competition right now, because anybody that's looking at it's just like, well, everybody's going to be at MegaCon.
There's nothing.
But is
It's not a lot.
everybody at
There's
MegaCon?
nothing.
Right.
How do you make plans then? I mean, like literally exhibitors need to make travel plans. So
Well,
who's in the
exhibitors
right here?
probably know. Well, exhibitors know if they're setting up there. They're probably not just
No.
posting the list.
I'm sorry, not exhibitors. Attendees need to know.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like, how
Yeah,
do you
if they want to go to that show, yeah.
Who's more on the right here? Would you rather go with the place that's early and know and make your plans ahead of time, or are you gonna wait and fly by the seat of your pants with C2E2 and hope that, or maybe that's not even a driving factor for most people. How many people really fly out for a show for the artists? Is it more, maybe that's not as big of a deal? I don't know. I'd like to think that a lot of people come out for artists and talent, but I wonder what the true percentage is for people who travel for that, like out of state. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. C2. Obviously, Chicago's huge, so heavily
Good
popular.
point.
Maybe they're not concerned. Maybe they're just like, okay, plenty of local, we'll be fine. But
Well, I mean,
Or they
C2E2
think people
has
just
to be
have faith
concerned.
in the event, you know?
I mean, just
Yeah,
thinking about
like
the time
that's
of
their
year,
show. They want to
Chicago
go to it.
versus
They're going no matter
Florida.
what.
Yeah, but I mean, this time of year, Chicago versus Florida is a big fucking difference, right? In weather.
Oh,
Let's
I'm
just-
aware.
Let's just talk about it. Because I mean, right now, well, yeah. So I'm in Chicago weather. Danielle's in Florida weather. Like I'm wearing 3 shirts. Danielle's like, I'm in my jammies, boys.
I'm about
I
to
don't
be.
gotta worry about shit, and here I am. I'm in my fucking house, and I'm like, oh god, get on the
I
Patagonia.
mean, last night it did get down to like 55.
So
And it was
Gabriel
Hold
does
on,
make a
we're
good
getting
point.
rid of Danielle. She doesn't get to be on the show if she's just gonna be in here bragging like that. Now you got us banned. Thanks, Danielle. There we go.
Time out.
Never.
But yeah, I mean, so that's something to consider too. I feel like C2E2 is kind of screwing the pooch by not making any announcements, though. I mean, I can see that they might want to be secretive, but people
How
want to know
about
where
this
to go.
point? Who is CGC betting on? Are they going to be at both? Or are they
So
gonna...
they're
Look on
going to
their
both.
website.
They're going to.
They're doing
We
both?
already looked it up. Yeah, chat. You can look it up if you don't believe us, but we looked it up ahead of time. They are going to both,
Yeah.
and so is CBCS. So at first, and I agree with Jeff too, because this is going to put a strain on vendors, right? Because some vendors, some retailers, I think Danielle mentioned this, some streamers even, and people that just like to go to these cons, they can't go to both now. So even like a dealer who picked up a collection, who looks forward to going to one con and then taking what's left over and going to the next con, they
Well,
don't
it's
get that
really-
opportunity
It's
now.
really effing
right?
dealers a lot because these are 2 of their biggest shows.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
they have to
retailers
give
who like
up
to drop
one of their big
exclusives.
shows now.
We know a lot of them. Do they have to pick now one or the other? Because I don't think they can drop one at both. So how does that work?
I guess they can do an online release for one of them and one in person, but it's not the same.
It's not the
Right.
same. Being able to get it at the convention is what makes it special. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
is that pickup.
And I did want to answer this though before we move on. Gabriel, what he showed was the guess at C2E2, but what the purpose of that was because there's no artists on there.
Or vendors.
That's why, yeah, there's no artists or vendors on there. So that's why he
No.
showed that.
Yeah, I didn't go to
Exhibitors.
the guest list because it was just actors and actresses. There was nothing really else of there.
Hey, comic book fanboy, there you go.
So yeah, good note. Good note. Maybe that's what they do to keep from a lot of cancellations showing up, and I can appreciate that too. Absolutely, but I don't know. It's just
Well,
a
heads
little,
up couldn't hurt.
it would be helpful, especially when it comes to knowing the fact that they have a major competitor that week. Now, this is probably great for all the years in the past, but now going at the same time, it does feel like it was absolutely purposeful though by Megacon. They were just like, yeah, okay.
It does, and we're going to get to that point. I'm so glad this chat is hitting the other points because it's helping with time. We were going to talk about that. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. The weather in Chicago, we will officially give a check mark to the Megacon side because the weather in Florida in March is like 70s. It's beautiful. In Chicago,
like perfect weather.
Average was like 40 degrees. So
at best.
There you have
and it's still called the Windy City, so with that wind chill.
Right, and if you're bringing your family with you, I would recommend going to
And the
Florida.
rest
You
is
have Disney
Universal.
World,
Yeah.
you have Universal Studios, you got the beach. Honestly, if you're trying to bring your family to Chicago, I mean, I think you'd have a better time in Florida. That's my honest opinion. So, I mean, we'll be honest here. There's certain check marks that belong on certain places. So, yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, especially the ability to family vacation. I mean, if you're bringing family and you're collectors like us, your family doesn't usually like to go to these things with you for more than one day, just
Right.
because they're bored out of their minds with you because they know you're working really the rest of the time. So it's not as much fun, right? So they want to know what else can they do. And in Chicago, at that time of year, it's got better food. I'm going to say that it's got better food.
I
Chicago
agree with
has
that.
better food.
100%.
100%. Chicago has the best food you can look for. That's not New York. That's really pretty much it. But
or San Diego.
Orlando, San Diego's got really expensive, nice food. But I mean, Chicago's got any price of food, that you want to find. They're going to feed you and feed you well. Yeah. But I will say though that when it comes to activities, things of that nature, Orlando has Chicago beat because there's nothing else going on in Chicago right now unless it's like a show or a concert. There's no sports going on. I mean, maybe they'll have hockey, and the Blackhawks are a draw, but they're not that big of a draw. I mean, at the end of the day too, I mean, if you're dealing with Chicago cold, do you really want to go into an ice box? I'm just
That's
saying.
why I love the show in Rosemont. Well, I used to when it was like the old show. Didn't go last year. It really went downhill under Wizard. And I'm curious how it'll be this year, but it's in Rosemont and they have like that whole little grass turf area that's so cute to hang out in. That's super close to the convention center.
Did Fan Expo buy that?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't that
so?
Fan
one other point that's on.
That's one to consider in August.
Sorry, Theo. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Jana, I must respectfully disagree. I was just at NerdyCon, which was in Orlando, and I can tell you right now, those places close early, okay? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what place in that city you're going to, unless we're talking Miami or something. Yeah, they close early over there.
Theo and I didn't get back from the things in Chicago. Theo and I didn't get back from the stuff in Chicago until about an hour or two before the next day.
It was no New York.
Started. It was whack. Chicago and New York were the best parties, period. San Diego was cool.
New York had the best
parties. Chicago and New York,
nothing
hands down.
New York, right. New York.
Crazy town.
Vegas and New York are just gonna be nuts.
Oh my god, Vegas is gonna be madness.
Vegas is gonna be you just need to have one day of conventions and then the rest of it's just all hanging out.
To prepare myself for Vegas.
It's gonna be
come on
whack.
now. You guys, come on. You already know.
Whack.
Yeah, you already know. Yeah.
Oh, tell you what.
Nah, Universal City wall bars. Okay, we went there too. Okay,
no, those wall bars. Right. Stop it, Jana.
Jana, who are you kidding right now? All right.
I'm just gonna say.
Don't make us pull you in here live. I want to see you have a straight face.
No, that shit is not the same.
It's not the same. Girl, we bring you up north and you'll know what it's like. Then you'll know what it's like. We'll bring you up.
You ain't been out with us.
So, oh God. This is a thing. So, the other thing to talk about though, the thing to talk about historically.
Yes.
Jesus, ugly ass, he'll still wear those in the wintertime. He doesn't care. He won't care.
So, Funhouse, I'm not sure yet.
Jeff,
Funhouse.
do you know about this?
What? Tell me.
Rage's ugly Jesus sandals.
Oh, Jesus sandals! I thought I saw them. We
You know,
talked about them
one day we're gonna do a segment.
Yes,
We're
yes,
gonna
yes,
we're gonna
yes.
talk about
Sandals.
everybody's shoes. Okay.
Let's talk about
yeah.
footwear at conventions. Let's talk about convention footwear, folks, for a moment, because we're not just talking about just the verses, but let's get a little bit of prep. What should people do when it comes to footwear at conventions?
Close
Be
tight shoes.
comfortable.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys right now.
Not those shoes.
You need 3 different pairs of shoes. Okay. You need one for when you're traveling.
Your suit.
You need one for when you're going to be walking a lot, and another one for when you're going out. Okay. A 10. Okay. Do not listen to 10 over here. Okay. But if you have bad luck,
I like
me,
a whole suitcase.
your
for
luggage
shoes.
will get taken, and you'll get stuck with your traveling shoes, and everyone will make fun of you. But you know what? You will be comfortable. Okay.
Yes. Con shoes. Comfortable shoes.
Comfortable
Shoes to stay on your feet all day, that you don't care getting stepped on or scuffed. All right. And when you're walking through a con, just assume it's good. You're gonna go slow. And if you go fast,
have a new pair of
hit the street.
shoes.
Okay. So just take your time. Know it's gonna take a while. Get some comfortable shoes, and you'll enjoy your con.
I did take notes from Skeff on that. Like he's just like, Phil, take 2 pairs of shoes. He's like, because one pair of shoes won't last you the right amount of times. It's like no one pair of tennis shoes are going to see you through an event. He's like, take 2 pairs.
I don't know. I've never worn through a shoe at a con, but
not like worn through, but like I'm a big boy. All right. I'm tall and I'm large. So, you know, we tend to blow out our shoes a little faster. All right.
Okay,
you nice fit, skinny guys. All right. I'm just knocking out souls.
Knocking out souls.
So, but another thing to think about too is we also pulled up crime. We also looked at that because 2 different cities of comparison. Right now, there is more violent crime, 5% more in Chicago versus Orlando. However, property crime and theft is twice as high in Orlando than it is in Chicago. It is rated on a 45 out of 100 in Chicago, and it was 85 in Orlando. As far as
do people consider crime when they're going to a show?
Property theft. Well, that's considered like hotel, like being broken into, cars being broken into. That's considered like the property damage, right? And theft is the major portion of that.
Well,
so
it makes sense because
theft
it's such
is
like a
twice
tourist
as high in Orlando. Exactly.
Yeah, I'd be more concerned about violent crime versus property crime.
Well, going out with you guys, I'm concerned about that every single time we go out. But you know,
but did you die, Phil? But did you die?
But did you die? I got shot. But did you die?
We brought you back, Phil.
Did you make it back in one piece?
Made it back alive. I made it back to Michigan somehow. Tell you what. But no, but we did look at crime, so there is that, right? And yes, violent crime is always a concern, no matter where you are. But that was 100%. That was one other thing we looked at. But the last thing I wanted to bring up though was exclusives, right? Because we are comic book collectors, and when it comes to the last, let's just say, 6 or 7 years, especially, we can go all the way back to the beginning, but just going back to the last 6 or 7 years, there has been much more exclusives of note that still carry value today from C2E2 versus Megacon. And it's not even competition. I mean, there's one of note in the last few years from Megacon, and that was the Batman
the Batman 423 foil.
Yeah, the Batman 423
Batman 423 foil, red cover.
Yes. So
because the gold came out in Toronto.
Yeah.
That is the most one of note in the last few years, and that was what, $190, $200, something like that, at the most.
Are we assuming then that the venue is somehow making these exclusives more valuable where they come out? Or
no, I just think that they ended up getting better ones the last few years, right? I don't know.
Well, then who's putting them out, and where?
I think that's just kind of luck of the draw too, wherever that retailer is at for that show, or just when they happen to drop it, because that's more retailer based. I think, than show based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree, Jeff.
So then let me bring it back to this. Do you guys think that that's the reason why they're scheduled at the same time?
No.
No.
I don't know. I think whoever did that was probably put between a rock and a hard place, because neither of them want to be overlapping each other. As a business person, there is no reason you'd want to take part of your audience and have it split. That it makes no sense for you or anybody. Like, you're not going to destroy C2E2. It's not like, we're not talking like Coinbase, whoever tried to take out FTX, right? They ragged on them, they try to sell them and take out, Sam Goldman-Fried, whatever, spacing on the names, right? Because they're trying to take them out. You're not going to take out Chicago. So you either had to take that time slot, because neither of them want to split up that audience. So I think it was somebody, they got stuck. They had to pick that weekend for whatever reason they picked it. And now that they're there, it's going to be what it's going to be. Everyone's going to make their decisions. It's going to hurt, I think, both of them. As for exclusives, I want to know who's putting out these exclusives. I haven't checked. I think it's kind of luck of the draw for the most part. But
for luck of the draw, though, it's been you've been more lucky at C2E2 than you have at Megacon.
But is it the same person who puts these out?
It's not. We've got like.
We're just going we're just going generally speaking. Which ones for the cons that have held value throughout the longest period of time? The ones that we can say as a quote unquote community. Which one have you seen more? Which one has been more inspirational?
Right?
Hey, and we're gonna get right to that too with this. Phil, do you have it ready?
Well, we've got a couple of them. We've got like Black Boy Fly. This is by an actual artist. This is a huge book still nowadays. It's a major gem. I don't know if you've even heard of it, but this is by Hebrew Brantley.
Jeff and I are gonna have the same answers for like everything for me, like pre 2022. I'm gonna be like, I don't know what that book is. I don't know what that book
John
is.
Tyler Christopher. I know you guys know this one. I'm sure you guys have seen this in collections. The banana variant. This is still going good and strong, even in the CBCS.
I'm just saying, that book alone, do you know how many negative covers have come out after that book?
Quite a few.
But every single year, from almost every single con, they're dropping a negative space.
Yeah.
And that's how impactful that book is. And mind you, when I just came into the hobby, that book came out. And since that book has come out, I see that book all the time.
Yeah.
That's all.
We could only find the McFarland. When we were looking back the last few years, we could only find the McFarland. I know Black Boy Fly just because it's a gem that has come up a lot with Cover Price, right? Because he's a very well painting artist. And this is the only comic book he's ever done. It's got a show deal, all the fun stuff, but he refuses to write it, and everybody's afraid it's not going to happen because whatever. But at any rate, that's the only reason I know about Black Boy Fly. But when it comes to other different books, there's more carrying value from C2E2 than has been traditionally coming out of Megacon. But there's a hell of a lot of artists set up right now going to Megacon. I mean, I would love to grab, another Nakayama, get Jay Lee out there. Mark Brooks is amazing. I love Jay Anacleto. There's a lot of great modern artists that I like. I like to collect a lot of modern books. But at the end of the day, too, I collect for myself. And so I don't need what's the word I'm looking for, a CGC witness for my autographs or things like that. So I don't necessarily see the value of, if I could drive to Chicago, then I have to fly to Florida.
You can get witnesses at both shows, right?
Yeah,
the CGC
you can.
Is going to be at both.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
So
or I could just get it from somebody on Whatnot.
Well, I wonder though if it's because of COVID, because this is the first year back where it's like a real schedule, because even weddings are 2-3 years booked out because everyone had to wait for a year. So I'm curious to see what they do next year, if it gets back to a more normal schedule. And this is just, are you doing that to me, bro?
I was doing that to Mikey, hon. I don't do that. Not to you, boo. No, of course not.
If that's part of it though.
Only in
and
person.
It just happens to be it is what it is for a year.
You're absolutely probably right. And you guys are right. I mean, I don't know, but it feels a lot more less than necessarily purposeful. However, it sucks, right? It's just it sucks.
Straight.
I almost want somebody to blame because I wanted to go to both of these. I wanted to go to both of these badly. And I think that's the reason why I want somebody to be a bad guy so I could just be like, yeah, you know.
You know, Phil, if you need somebody,
they both have their benefits, dude. That's the
It's
thing,
always
though, right?
Jeff.
They both have their benefits.
Always
I,
Jeff.
I like what Ripit said here. It comes down to what somebody wants, right? And, you know, always buy what you love, right? If there's a certain
Always.
artist or writer that you want to meet, hey, you got to check and see where they're going, and maybe whichever one's closest, or you know, whichever one you can go to, that's the one you go to, right? So, I think that's important. I think that's an important thing to be stated there.
What were you saying, Jeff?
I was just saying, if you really need to blame somebody, and it helps you sleep at night, blame this guy right here.
Always blame Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blame me.
He takes it on the chin very well.
All right.
I'll blame. I'm not gonna blame Jeff. I like Jeff though. We're okay.
Fine. Stop complaining. Jesus Christ.
This is what I do. This is what we do on this show. We only complain. I don't know if you heard. We're the negative ones on the internet.
I ran out of tissues over here. I ran out of tissues over here.
Come on, man. You were born in the 80s.
I wish I had donkeys.
Oh, man.
Yes. But you know what? We're just going to go to a totally awesome comics con.
Totally awesome comics. We'll go to see Mikey. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Mikey.
I'm down. But no, I don't know. Chat, where
we'll
are you
there
going?
Instead. You want to give us crazy deals?
Going? Yeah, where are you guys going, chat? Let us know.
We need a Chaos Comic Con on that same day, and so that we can have a third con and show them what's up.
Yeah.
Same week.
You know,
a competitor, a real
really
community con.
There was one question I do want to highlight because
we can make some great
content. So, Mr. Bombastic, what's up, bro? To bring it back to y'all, we were talking about vendors not being able to sell the remaining stock. You think selling it through media like Whatnot would play into a factor to resolve that issue? I do think it could resolve that issue. However, I do think there's something to be said about the in-person transaction and people that follow you or that maybe buy from you on the regular to get to meet you. Also, you don't have to ship it when you're doing it in person. That's a big benefit as a seller. I mean, and chime in, Danielle, Jeff. You guys have been dealers.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go, because you're gonna probably say the same thing I'm gonna say.
This is my first time really setting up at a con in a couple years, at least. A couple years, because I did a lot on Instagram and Whatnot and whatever, and I was exploring other options, and I haven't really set up. And this week was the first time I set up in a while, and boy, it felt freaking great. I gotta tell you, this is the preferred outlet for me, in person, shaking hands, feeling the energy, really corresponding with people the way it should be in person. And then integrating other avenues for yourself, because you can't do a con every weekend, such as Whatnot, IG, Facebook, whatever works for you that you want to build. And honestly, if you want to be truly successful, you do them all.
Yeah.
All right. Because it is work. It's a job. If you treat it like a job, you will succeed. And I think you trying to rely because you're missing one con for another with just Whatnot is tough, because Whatnot works. Whatnot has its limitations, and so
a lot of these shows, like dealers, do like 5-6 figure shows at Megacon in Chicago, and Whatnot is great for a lot of things. I just did a high end auction. There's a threshold still of where people are willing to spend on that platform. And so dealers who are setting up at the shows are not going to want to use, and a lot of these guys are old school. They don't want to get on Whatnot.
Yeah.
Like they just don't. They don't want to.
I got to stress it. No shipping.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. That's huge.
People can just dig through them. They can negotiate easier. And it's like an old school mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. So yes,
and there's limitations on what stuff will sell for still.
And yes, I just did this today, Rip It. Yes, that is
one
of the best things about this hobby, man, is talking to like-minded people, digging in a box.
Yes,
Dude,
I love getting to see everyone.
I will plug in music if I'm at like a local con and just have music while I'm just busting through boxes, bro. Yeah.
So what's the etiquette on being close to a person going through a box, right? If you're going through
Let
a
me
box,
have my box
what
before you dig
happens-
into it.
What happens
Exactly it.
if somebody pulls the short box next to you? Like somebody comes
I mean,
up.
next to me, like it is
this
what
like
it is.
is this
but,
like the men's
don't
room,
be
like with a
digging in the
urinal
box when I'm still
situation?
digging
Like
in
you
it.
find the farthest one away, or every other box? I mean, is there an unspoken rule, right?
Yeah.
You can be right next to me. Like, I mean, preferably like give me a box between us so we both have like elbow room. But if you really have to be going through that box at the same time, okay. But don't touch the box when I'm still in it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
agreed. I agree with that.
You do not dare
Wait,
go to the back of the box before I get to the back of that box.
I will snatch it from you.
Yes, you have no like before conventions, you know, people will open up a new collection or whatever, and it gets very competitive to get in front of a box. But boy,
Right.
oh boy, if you cross that stream, you go over the line of scrimmage, all right, right there, and get your hand in my box. Your hand is in my box. As my hand is there. Oh man,
My box,
Words
my
of
box.
exchange, bad looks. Like, what are you
Go even
doing?
the elbow.
Oh man, it's really cutthroat because it's
Throw
not okay.
both.
It's not okay. And people lose their mind. When people see books, some of them lose their freaking mind. All right?
They
And
go
you
insane.
help
They go
them
insane.
find it. Be like, listen, sir, you've lost your mind. Let me help you find it. And it's back in your box. So get away.
Somewhere the
I,
fuck over there.
long story short, I kind of got into like a little bit of a, I guess you could call it dispute today with somebody when I was looking through a box. We actually ended up exchanging phone numbers and we did a trade, so it worked
That's
out well.
awesome.
But I was looking through a short box that a guy was there. He was trying to trade with the dealer, but the dealer didn't want to trade. So I was like, "What do you have?" He's like, "Oh, here, come take a look." So I'm like, "Sweet," but he had like a black BCW bin, and instead of having the books normally arranged like normally, he had it like this. So there was 2 rows
What?
instead of 1 full row in the short box. Imagine that, right? So
Mhm.
he had it weird, but whatever. And so I'm looking at one side. A guy comes and tries to look on the other side, and I'm like, "Hey,"
Of the same box.
I'm like, "Hey, this is my box." And he's like, "What?" I'm looking on this side. I'm like, "But it's the same short box." No, we
I
don't
didn't get to the
share
back
that.
yet,
I'm like,
bro.
nobody shares a short box ever. It's just I fucking know,
You
bro.
didn't get the box first, bro.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." You know, it got behind me. I'm like, "Oh, here you go. Boom. I left you some stuff too."
Yeah.
And
Like,
so and we
this
exchanged
X4
phone numbers and we did a
nine.
trade. But yeah, it worked out good. But I was like, "No, bro, 1 person per box. Like that's the golden rule, dude."
Does anyone in chat not know that that's a rule? I'm curious.
1
Yeah.
person, or like, "Here, you start on this side. I'll start at the end. When we get to the middle, we'll walk around and."
Yeah, this isn't Lady and the Tramp. We're not sharing a noodle to get to the middle, dude. It's like, come on.
Like even when I go with friends, right? Like I don't even get the closest one. I always have at least a box in between
So you have a little
me and
space.
my friends too. Because yeah, number one, yes, exactly. Number one, elbow space. I don't get to come in like the wingspan that I have and not like get in the way of people. It's very hard to.
I'm gonna
pull this
purposely stand right next to the box next to yours to dig through the box immediately next to yours at the next show we're at.
Well, the
together.
good news is I can actually reach over you. You're still a little shy. Be
Like
like,
the claw.
hey Danielle, how's it down there? You okay? You all right? Okay, I'm just reaching over your head. That just goes to all the people that are like, fuck, you're tall.
Oh my god, guys! If you have not met Phil in person,
I really liked meeting everybody the first time, but even Theo and Tony and
He's like a
Danielle
giant.
and everybody walked up and
he's
everybody
giant.
person was the same thing. It was like, you're tall. I'm like, well, yes, I guess I need to stop putting my camera up high. That's why you noticed it's
yeah,
actually
you
like
look
level
like
now.
you're like 5'8".
Well, you know,
I'm
there's a
not.
couple people when we were together. They were like, "Is that your bodyguard?" I'm like, "No, that's Phil."
No,
My bodyguard.
he's not going to do shit.
Godly's my
Ain't
bodyguard.
about that life.
Yeah, Theo.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Godly's that guy. Phil's a hugger. Phil's a cinnamon roll. He is. Phil's a hugger. Phil's a hugger. Vin and I already have it all set up when we see each other at our first convention. It's gonna be an amazing embrace.
Here's some other etiquette, okay? Because I did a whole 10 video etiquette years ago on YouTube, and I'll mention another etiquette thing. Do not poke the gosh darn comic wall. There's no reason you need to be poking any wall of comics, okay? Like when you have to express to your friend that you have that comic book on that wall that you got as a kid, you know, when you were only 8 years old, you don't need to touch it. You know, you can just mention it. And ask to remove books from a wall. Super important, especially if they don't know you. And the biggest problem is not removing the book off the wall, because that's the easy part. So once you feel like a Jedi that you removed it from the wall, let me know. I'm going to let you know really quick. Putting it back, you need to put it back in the trough specifically. Because if you miss that trough, guess what? It always, 99% of the time, it's going to fall and explode on a corner. Doesn't fall flat. It loves to fall on a corner, and probably 70% of the time onto the spine of the corner.
Onto the spine. I was going to say, it's got to be the weight of the spine and the staples, you know?
Then you have an awkward conversation with that person that you need to pay the difference in value that you just caused, or you need to buy that book. And I've had that conversation. I talked to a guy. I told the guy, oh, I will help you with the book. He acknowledged it. He heard me say, oh, okay, no problem. I wouldn't touch this. I don't feel comfortable. I turn my back. The mother effer has it in his hands, puts it back, drops it. I was like, you just dropped it, dude. We just had this conversation, bud. Like, you just told me you weren't going to touch it. Oh, my God. But anyways.
Did he damage it?
Yeah, he damaged it, of course. Like I said, it fell in a corner, busted a corner. ASM 98. It was a gorgeous 98.
So what'd you do for the chat? Did you guys, like, give it a new grade and then look on eBay, recent sales, say, okay, it was an 8.0, 8.0 sold for this, now it's a 6 sells for this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, this grades out this. This is how much the book was. You can buy the book out right now at the grade it would have been, or you can pay me the difference and then some, because I'm also a little frustrated and annoyed. And so, yeah, I mean, man. So yes, please, guys, and don't eat your food on top of comic boxes either. That's another thing.
Or leave your drinks.
Yeah, don't leave your drinks on top of boxes. Your Subway sandwiches. You know, nobody needs tzatziki sauce from your Euro on their Mylars. Like, come on, man.
That's true.
I can keep going.
That is
Take
true.
Showers. You know,
yeah.
Deodorant's a good thing.
Yes, deodorant.
By the way, I don't know why my mouth just did that.
Hydrate.
Yeah, I know you did.
Drink water. Hydrate for you guys. Eat and hydrate. Have patience. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's have some empathy and patience.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stop in the middle of the aisle to take photos.
Ooh, that's a tough
one.
That's cold-hearted right there.
That is.
Don't
get away from those cosplayers in the middle of the aisle, everybody. Take it to the
side. Go to the side.
Take it to the side. You see John Wick, you take it to the side, okay? You don't take a picture with John Wick in the middle of the aisle. You go somewhere else and you take it.
Yes. And here's another.
Go ahead, Jeff.
That happened to me before. I've had my rack knocked.
Oh, yes. They're not as sturdy as they look sometimes, guys. They've been through a lot of traveling.
It's pretty bad. There were a lot of damage.
Oh, we're talking about the book racks. I apologize. I got confused for a minute there.
Wrong rack.
Come on, Phil.
No. Oh. Okay. Here's another one.
Just the look on Jeff's face. No, just Jeff's face. Just doesn't even know what to do. It's like, I'm the big screen. What the fuck do I do?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay. Another thing. I know you feel funny.
Remove us, make him the whole screen. Here.
Okay. I know you think you're funny. All right, especially amongst your friends and homies. But telling me that you're going to give me 10 cents for a comic because it says 10 cents on the comic is not funny.
Jeff went savage.
Or 12 cents. Okay? I don't care. Okay, it's not funny. All right, dude. That AF-15 says 12 cents on it. Yes. Okay? But, like...
Let the dad jokes go, folks. Let the dad
jerk
jokes
for
go.
charging more than $1. How dare you?
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Leave it alone, man.
Gosh.
Jeff was harsher than me on that one, though.
Yeah, how many times can you laugh at that before you
what's a rule you've got, Danielle, that hasn't been stated so far? What's an untold rule?
Oh gosh. set a budget
Mm.
for yourself at a
Mhm.
show. Like set a budget because it is really easy to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this now, do you guys feel like at times when you're setting a budget that, you know, I guess you should also have not just a budget but a plan, right? Like there's certain things that if you see the budget's gone, right? Or because I mean some people too, like the problem is they finally see that cool book and it's Sunday now because somebody's willing to haggle and whatever it may be, but they just blew their wad on like 30 books the day before. You know, I mean, how do you guys set yourself like a daily budget? Do you have where you're like, okay, I'm gonna try and keep it to this XYZ amount each day?
I don't have a daily amount. I'm just kind of, and honestly, I don't really have like a strict budget. I'm like, I really don't want to spend around this much. When I set up at shows, I have bigger goals of like what I want to sell than I do of budgets that I want to stay within. It's like, this is what I want to find, and this is the price range I'm hoping to find it in.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Jeff?
I try not to set expectations for myself at shows of finding one specific book because I feel like that can lend to disappointment most of the time. So for me, I'm a big fan of like, if I like one book, then I like it in multiples. So it's like, if I find just a book I like in general, I'm okay owning it, multiples of it. That might not work for everybody, but I do like to generally keep it open and not go in with an idea of just finding this one book I have to get, which doesn't always work for everybody because some people are completists. I don't know, whatever. But I go in there with an open mind, like just find something you really like. And it's okay. I think if you already have a good book and you have one, I think it's okay to have multiples of good books. So for me, that's the biggest thing. So I don't really have a daily budget. It's like, just have an overall budget. Because when you find what you like, you're going to want to, get
buy
it.
Like a collection that needs houses to hold it and things like that, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you gotta. Just probably like, I'm not buying shit in 2023. I got too many to go through already. I don't need more books to look at.
Flush on books right now.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I never really go there like looking for anything in particular, unless like, when people have reached out to me saying, "Hey, can you go get this exclusive, or can you go get that?"
Nope.
I mean, generally,
That's
I'm
my
trying
answer
to
this year.
trade.
Don't ask me for exclusives this year. Let me put this disclaimer out. Nobody asked me for exclusives this year. The answer is going to be NO. Y'all ain't getting me this year.
There you go. You got it. You see, you got
Come
it.
at
There
me,
you go.
bro. Come at me. No exclusives. Don't want to hear that shit. No, I feel it.
Yeah,
I feel it.
really quick, guys. What's up? 5 likes? Yo.
Oh, come on.
Get it together,
There's 30
chat.
people in
A
here.
few more likes, few more subs. Like
30 people. Thank you,
Get it together,
Funhouse.
chat. Get it together.
Come on, chat.
Man,
Some of the chit chat.
No.
tell you what.
It's an
my
indefinite
t-shirt
no.
is just- Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. No, it's been interesting. I don't know anything. So, all right, conversation's been had. We've had both of our comparisons between the two. Right now, where are you guys? Proof in the pudding. It doesn't fucking matter to me, right? I have a feeling I know where I'm going, but I'm going where I am a collector per se, but it's just for my PC, things that nature. I go where my friends are, right? So for me, a convention, the experience is about getting to see my friends on the floor and getting to hang out with them all night. It's like going to summer camp, right? You're just getting to be there with your friends and have fun and do these things. And the experience of the con, I can buy books anywhere. I can go dig through boxes wherever I want to. I can go and online and I can buy a book for whatever I want to get. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to put myself through not being able to see my friends. So
that's Phil the
just
Hugger
my
right
thoughts.
there.
I don't know. What about you
That
guys?
is Phil the Hugger.
Phil the Hugger. Right there.
My headset went funky. 1 second.
It's there's no real wrong answer with this con. I'll be honest with you. You got 2 great cons, so pick one. You'll be fine. You'll enjoy them all. So Chicago's fun. I like Chicago. I'll probably be in Chicago. I don't think I'm going to try both. I just think I'll probably do Chicago just for the quality of books that I suspect to be there usually. The deals are usually better there, in my opinion. And I like the food better there. And, like you said, some of the people that I want to hang out with, they're going to be at both. So it's going to be a tough one on that. But
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I hate this. I'm so sad.
What do
I'm
you
still
think, Daniel?
considering attempting both.
Who's going where? We talked about that. I'll be at
I'm
C2E2.
still considering both.
No, we were waiting for the end. We're at an hour, so yeah. Now we're going up.
I'm just answering that question already.
Oh yeah, Phil. Oh, yeah,
Phil's
here we
going to
go.
Chicago.
Right.
Rage is going to Chicago. He really
Yeah,
thinks he's
I mean,
guys.
I'm gonna definitely miss some friends that I definitely have a ton of friends going to Megacon. That's really honestly the biggest suck out of all this. Like you guys are talking about, is
Truth.
splitting the business in half. It's splitting the opportunity to see my friends, right?
Splitting
Because a
our
lot of us
funds in
can't go to
half.
multiples. I mean, a lot of the people in the chat, like if it weren't for things that have been a blessing for me that have happened over this last year of getting to, have these conversations with you guys. I mean, we've all just met. At least I've just met you guys in the last few years because of COVID, things of that nature. My goal has been to meet as many people as possible that became my friends during this time. And I know some of them are only going to go to Megacon this year. And some of them are only going to go to Chicago this year. And that to me is my biggest bummer out of all of this, is the fact that I might not get to see my friends this year that I'm really dying to meet.
I know.
I know that's super
That's
lame.
shite.
Super lame. I don't know, Theo.
Fantastic. Rage is doing C2E2.
Well, probably.
Sorry, I was muted there for a second.
As
All right.
As long as he doesn't get
different
super sick of me in the meantime, probably.
But yeah, I am.
I'll to see if I can do those. Probably Baltimore I'll go back to, though. The city was a little scary, but I got some good shit at the show. And Chicago does have better books. Between Chicago and Megacon in terms of like books, I think Chicago definitely wins. But I have to wonder how many of the dealers are doing Megacon versus Chicago. Like, I'm really curious to see the dealer list too.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I remember talking with a couple of dealers at San Diego, and I asked about Megacon, and their specific words were, it's a flea market. He goes, Megacon is a flea market. He goes, it's cool. Lots of people are there, but like the books and the quality isn't the same. That's what I heard. Yeah. Not been there, but I
Chicago definitely has better books.
For vintage, we're talking about.
For vintage. Yeah. For vintage. I'm talking vintage and like digging through and like treasure hunting and like looking at walls.
Right.
I'm curious to see this year how dealers are pricing on their wall books, because everyone had like a lot of dealers paid really high prices last year and they didn't move everything.
Right.
And I'm wondering how that's going to affect pricing this year. I definitely will say that I feel like key issues have started to kind of come back a little bit in auctions. And I think that they're getting stronger. All of like that middle of the road stuff that kind of got really expensive that maybe shouldn't have isn't rebounding the same, but it shouldn't have gotten as expensive as it did. But keys I've seen,
it's definitely hit a plateau on the dip. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've seen the same thing. It feels like keys have bounced back, or at least hit a low already. Don't feel like they're still dropping. Yeah. They're kind of coming back. And second tier keys are still kind of down. Back issues, I don't feel like back issues really dropped because they just didn't really spike. It feels like if you have back issues of just
like 9/8 stuff, like slabs though. Like some of like the random 9/8 slabs that got really expensive, that
Right.
kind of like cut in half, like that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Just
I
because of
agree.
census.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think if you got Bronze Age back issues and Copper Age, I still
Yeah,
feel
keep
like they're
on saying
around the
that.
same.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I agree. I don't know. Theo,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
I wish I could go to both. Unfortunately, I can't. A lot of my friends, including the ones on this panel, have told me where they're going. I'm going to be going to Chicago. It is closer to me. I did enjoy my experience last time, and I wish I could go to. I really wanted to go to Megacon because I couldn't go last year because it was like springtime last year is when I just started going to all the cons, and then I hit all of it really hard and went to almost every con. So it sucks, and there's a lot of good people I know that are going to both. So yeah, I really wish it wasn't the same weekend. It sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation, guys. We're hitting the hour mark. It's
Love you, David.
it's yeah, very much so, bro. I think, in all honesty, it's going to be a great convention either way. I think it's unfortunate they're both at the same time. The panel seems to be either doing both or C2E2, especially so far. But this is just a few people. We've got lots of other people that are going to both. I know a lot of my other good friends, like even like Nomas, stuff like that. I know he's going to be at MegaCon. Because he's doing autographs, and right now he knows who's going to be there, so he can plan and book a flight and get a room, and there's a lot of other people just like him that are doing that for Florida right now. And he also lives in New York and probably wants to warm up a little bit, probably needs to thaw out some, so it's not a bad idea. But yeah, I think both conventions are going to be awesome. I think both conventions are going to have amazing people there. For me, it's just a backyard situation, but I do know, it takes 2.5 hours to drive there. It takes 2.5 hours to fly to Orlando. It's at the end of the day, it's just picking a poison. But yeah, I've got a lot
and
of,
still
lot of people to
chilling.
see.
That's what I'm talking about. You got to do what's best for you and your family, financially, whatever's closest to your home, all that jazz, man.
Yep, that's
I
what
mean,
goes
for
into
me,
it.
I'm thinking, you know what? Even though Chicago's like not that much closer to me than Florida, it's still a little bit closer, time zone, me to get able to talk to my wife and kids back home. I mean, it's definitely a factor. You know what I mean? So I can't ignore that.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And the hotels are right next to the freaking McCormick Place too. That was the one other thing that I did like, the fact that
that is super convenient.
we didn't have to drive anywhere. Like, when we wanted to go out to eat or whatever, cool. But I mean, we just walked. We just walked between the hotels in Chicago. I mean, and even the far ones were like, what, 10 minutes walk?
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
That's true.
It wasn't bad. It was all in the same block.
I'll decide this week.
So on that note, everybody, before we go, Danielle, what have you got going on this week? Where can people find you? Give us a little 411 on what's going on with Nerdy Girl Comics this week.
Okay, well, I'm heading to Buffalo on Wednesday to go take over Sleeping Giants headquarters, and we're going to be hosting a virtual NerdyCon event this weekend with over 20 streamers and giveaways and craziness and all sorts of shenanigans. Awesome. And I just picked up a new collection today, so I'll be sneak peeking some of that over on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Jeff, how about you, my friend?
Oh man, let's see. I will just be on Whatnot Wednesday. I'm hoping to maybe do an Instagram sale, so you can find me.
Oh, you want to stream this weekend on our streams?
Yeah, let me get home and take a look at my schedule, and then Emerald City's around the corner, so I'll be getting a bunch of books ready for Emerald City. So I might be, which is I think March 2nd through 4th, I believe. So I might be doing some live streams from the con floor as well, which could be kind of fun.
I still have to make that show. I'm so jelly.
Yeah, unfortunately, the city of Seattle kind of got ugly out here.
Right. Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
Yeah,
we'll save that for another YouTube.
All right, Theo, what have you got going on this week, my friend?
Oh, don't worry about me, guys.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Skip
You
this
guys
guy.
already
No,
know.
oh, okay, fine. Get in there. What
Great
you got
show,
going on, brother?
Instagram, whatnot, Comics and Chaos on YouTube. That's it. If you guys care, you can check me out on there, and I post what I'm doing and what I'm selling. So thank you. That's it.
Yep. I will be obviously here, Comics and Chaos, doing a little bit with Nerd King, and a little bit with, but mostly working on Cover Price and working on some pre-recorded shows. We have some new content coming here with Comics and Chaos. Getting some new stuff rolling with the team, building slowly but surely, adding new stuff each month. So there's going to be some new interesting things on the way, guys. So hopefully stay tuned, be excited. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, for all other intents and purposes, gosh, guys, as every time, every single week, thank you for coming out. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And Theo, my friend, take it home. Say good night to all of our friends.
Guys, we appreciate every single one of you. Everybody in the chat, make sure you like, comment, sub us up. Make sure you guys follow Golden Age Guru, Nerdy Girl Comics. Until the next week, guys. We appreciate you.
Take care, everybody.